And the winner for Best Audio Design of 2023 goes to Kirk Hamilton for that time he binged in to fix his own mistake. Wow, what an honor. Well, first I want to welcome you to Triple Click, where we bring the games to you. And I want to thank my co-hosts, since on this episode we'll be talking about the Game Awards and making some predictions for who we think will win on gaming's biggest night. I'm Kirk Hamilton.
I'm Maddy Myers.
And I'm Jason Schreier. Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Welcome back for gaming's biggest night.
Oh boy.
Gaming's biggest day?
Gaming's
Leading
biggest.
into gaming's biggest night. If you're listening to this later, sorry, but it is gaming's biggest day / night.
It already happened. The biggest night. You're on the downslope. It's all downhill for you now because you've experienced gaming's biggest night.
Right, and now we're just climbing back up the hill again to the next gaming's biggest night, which will be on a Thursday in December 2024. But we don't even think about that right now. Right now we're thinking
each
about
night is subsequently
this,
bigger, I guess. It's always the biggest night, so we are climbing up again. It's always going to be bigger.
Huh. That's
sort
a way
of
to think about
a bigness inflation going on.
It's growth, man. It's capitalism.
I was sort of suggesting they were all the same level of bigness, but you're right. Capitalism dictates that gaming's biggest night has to keep getting bigger.
It just
every year.
keeps growing. Yeah,
Right.
if gaming's biggest night doesn't grow 10% year over year, shareholders are not going to be
That's
happy.
Jeff's
There's going to be
problem.
some layoffs. That's going to be a real problem. Speaking of capitalism, we're a listener-supported show.
Oh boy.
And you should support us at MaximumFun.org/join. You become a member. You support our show. We love all of you who support us. And to show you that, we make bonus episodes that you can listen to. The latest one is on Spider-Man 2. We've got some cool ones coming up that we've got planned. Next year, we're going to do Triple Cook, as we have been teasing at the beginning of episodes recently.
I'm so excited for that.
Anyways, MaximumFun.org/join. Become a member. Support something good. It'll make you feel good, and it'll help us keep making this show. All right, let's get into it. Jason, what are we talking about this week?
We are, of course, talking about gaming's biggest night.
Thank
so,
goodness.
okay.
True.
So people who might have been kind of paying attention to our annual predictions game this year might have noticed that there is a legitimate scenario in which all three of us tie in January. Now, we won't get into specifics, and of course, there's still a few weeks left in the year, but that is a possibility. And the three of us said, if we tie, we're not going to play all three games. That would be a little
And we're not even
nutty.
doing a two-way tie again. It's too many. We're just going to have one winner.
No, we
Ideally,
decided
no.
against it. So we decided we are going to come up with a tiebreaker. And that tiebreaker will be a predictions game for gaming's biggest night.
Yeah. This isn't complicated at all. This is so easy. We're just adding on additional predictions on top of the predictions you already have to know about as a
You
listener.
snark, but this is actually pretty simple.
Yeah, I think it's pretty straightforward.
This part is, yes.
Whoever wins the most predictions
Yep.
from Gaming's Biggest Night for the Game Awards 2023 wins the tiebreaker. This will only apply if there's an either two-way or three-way tie in the actual predictions game.
Yeah, it's not a secret extra point, right?
No, it's nice and simple. It is simply
Extremely
numbers.
simple.
It is just yes or no for each of these. There's no
Correct.
arguing. There's no debating. We will just have one person who has the point for a tiebreaker.
Yes, unless we somehow all get the same number of categories
We
correct.
can't
in which
talk about
case
that.
we'll-
We can't acknowledge
Then
that
we'll
reality.
roll a die. We really will roll a dice.
Yes. So, okay,
Yeah.
so here's what we're going to do. We're going to go through each category. And one of the reasons that I really like this as a game is that it actually it makes it so we care about like who wins each category this
It
year.
does.
When usually you're just like, okay, whatever, like Zelda won.
Yeah,
So anyway,
you know?
so we're going to go through one by one. We're going to go through in the order that the Game Awards listed. There are 31 categories. And we're going to pick them all, whether or not we actually know anything
You
about the
freaking
category
go.
involved. So let's get into it. And along the way, as we're going through each of these, we can kind of talk about any snubs we think are in the picture, or like if there's anything that we think should not be on there, or whatever else. So let's get to it.
Can we just say preliminarily, this is such a stacked year for video games. I think this is maybe the first year that I've looked at the Game of the Year lineup, which is our first entry here, and I've not only played but enjoyed every single entry on here. Like, that's
exciting.
so rare. I mean,
That
I
is
don't know
exciting.
how you two feel about it, but in looking at the Game Awards nominees, usually I got at least a couple that I'm like, why is that here in the overall list? But this year I was kind of like, all right, there's a lot of good video games this year. And the Game Awards list is a way of tracking that. It's a way of observing that, even if I don't always agree with the winners.
Yeah, so let's list that list you're talking about. So number one, category one is Game of the Year. Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Tears of the Kingdom. Any snubs you guys think are on here before we each make our picks?
Yeah, I think my only issue with this is one that I've seen voiced elsewhere, which is that there is a remake on this list, and I'm not sure how I feel about Resident Evil 4 Remake being on here.
What about the Dead Space remake, though? Would you want that on here?
No, I think that
same reason.
No, but it's not. But yeah, same reason. I mean, Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty was so good, and given the Game of the Year tends to go to the glitzy things, like there are definitely smaller games that I played that I liked more than several of the games on here. Mm-hmm. But I really liked Phantom Liberty. I think it was fantastic. And Resident Evil 4 is just kind of, I mean, it's a really old game. I know they remade it, but I don't know. So I think I would maybe swap those out.
Yeah, I don't know if DLC would qualify for this the way that Phantom Liberty. Like Phantom Liberty is in expansions. I don't know if it qualifies as a game.
I would say that it qualifies more than a remake of the 2004 game. And you know, again, I'm sort of making the list. If it were my list, I would definitely put it on there.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I should say, as we're picking these, we're picking what we think is going to win, not necessarily our picks. So that's an important thing to say up front. Okay, everybody, give your picks. Kirk, what's your pick for Game of the Year?
Baldur's Gate 3.
Okay, Maddy.
I'm going Zelda. Tears of the Kingdom.
Zelda. Okay, we already got our first dispute here. I am also going with Baldur's Gate 3. I feel like Zelda has kind of lost momentum.
You think the recency bias is going to play a role too?
I do. Maybe? And I think if I were making my personal pick, it would be Zelda, but I think Baldur's Gate 3 has just got the momentum, and it also feels more original than Zelda.
When you look at the games everyone talked about all year, I don't know, it's hard to argue with Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah,
I love Tears of the Kingdom, but Baldur's Gate 3 is unstoppable, in my opinion.
All right, the next category is Best Game Direction, which is
kind of a weird category.
A very strange category. It's not a lot of these categories. It's not actually clear. I imagine everybody who's voting has totally different ideas of what this actually means. Yeah. Regardless, the entries are pretty much the same as Game of the Year: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Spider-Man 2, Mario Wonder, and Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Right. Everything. No Resident Evil 4 because fuck that game direction.
I guess so poorly. Just kidding. I don't know.
Very strange. It's very strange. What do you guys think wins this one?
This is tough because I feel like if I wanted to pick my Maddy Myers pick, it would be Alan Wake 2 because I feel like it's so strongly directed. But I don't know if the average voter, which includes fans, not just critics, it includes a whole bunch of different people. There's a fan vote that plays a role. I think maybe the average person would pick Baldur's Gate 3. I guess I'll go with that. This is a tough one. What are you going to say, Kirk?
My pick is Alan Wake 2 because I think that people vote based on like the idea of a singular director.
Yeah.
Like the way it's like Kojima syndrome for this award. And since Sam Lake is so present in the game and was so present in the game's sort of marketing and is just such a clear influence on it, I just feel like Alan Wake 2. Plus, I mean, it is a really well-directed game insofar as that's a thing. Jason, what about you?
My pick is also Alan Wake 2. I actually think since it's 90, so the way the voting works is 90% critic vote and 10% fan vote. And I think critics loved Alan Wake 2 and will want to root for it as a dark horse. And since it won't win Game of the Year, I think this is the award it'll get.
But it's nominated for a lot of other awards, which we're about to get to. So
let's get into it. Best Narrative: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2.
It's interesting to see Final Fantasy 16 there. Not going to vote for it. Just saying it's interesting to see it there. Maybe not the category I would have put it in.
All right, Maddy, what's your pick?
God, I got to do Baldur's Gate 3 for this. I'd be crazy not to. Come on. That's what everybody's going to vote for, right? Even if I think it's Alan Wake 2 here as well. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what I think.
Yeah, I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. Best narrative, for me at least. I also think it is the best narrative of the year.
I think even people who don't play it would click that. Because they're like, it's got narrative in it, right? It's Baldur's Gate 3.
I am with you guys. I think Baldur's Gate 3, and I actually think that's the most deserving as well, in my opinion. All right, let's keep going. Best Art Direction: Alan Wake 2, Hi-Fi Rush, Lies of P, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
I'm going to do Alan Wake 2 for this because I feel bad that I haven't said it yet.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
And I think maybe the people will come out for Alan, maybe for this category. They'll be like, that game's artsy.
I think this is where Zelda takes it. I think Zelda is going to win the crown here. our
Nice.
section.
Well, I picked Hi-Fi Rush for this one.
I think that's
really?
another strong contender.
Yeah, because
Very
it's not really
stylistic.
nominated for other stuff, but is a really well-liked game from earlier in the year. I really like this game. It's kind of battling it out to make it onto my top 10 list. And it does have very cool art and very like arty art. You know, it looks like very illustrated. And I would think maybe that one over Zelda. I agree, Jason, that Zelda has a good shot. And I agree, Maddy, Alan Wake does. Those are the three strongest contenders. It's just that
Which is
Zelda
like-
looks so much like Breath of the Wild that it's kind
that's
of,
why I think
for
it's
art,
right
it's a
out.
little like, oh, well,
Right.
it looks like a game that already came out.
I think you might be right, although I think Hi-Fi Rush was nominated for one that I'm going to vote on later, but we'll get into that. Let's keep going. Best score and music: Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, The Legend of Zelda's Tears of the Kingdom.
Maddy, you're up.
This is tough because I feel like if enough people played Alan Wake 2, they'd say Alan Wake 2 for this.
Yeah, I mean, show me the champion of light.
And the Old Guards of Asgard are playing
show
at the
you
Game
the
Awards,
Herald of
so
Darkness.
I'm kind of like, do maybe people know the songs from Alan Wake 2 at this point, and that's gonna take it? And I haven't played Hi-Fi Rush. I know it's a big music game, but I feel like Alan Wake 2 has better music than some of these other games. No offense to them. I just really
But what
like
do you
the Alan
think's
Wake 2
gonna win?
music.
So what's your
I'm
pick?
just
What's your
saying Alan Wake
pick?
2. I don't know.
Are you doing this live on the show?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Alan Wake 2, Maddy says. Okay,
go ahead.
my pick is the game here that I did an entire episode of Strong Songs about, and that is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which
Yeah.
I believe does just like, not objectively, but it has by far
It
my
does
favorite music
rule.
of the year. Because Hi-Fi Rush is like, Jason, I see you're predicting the same thing.
Yeah, Zelda is my pick too. I mean, the music in that game is out
It's
of
completely
control. I
out
would
of
be
control.
shocked if that game did it.
But it includes music from Breath of the Wild. I'm not saying that's fair, but I'm just kind of thinking of how
No,
human
it's
bias
got-
works.
No, but like, well, having done a whole episode of Strong Songs about it, there's a crazy amount of new music in it, and it like
I know that.
repurposes music from Breath of the Wild in like all these brilliant ways. It's amazing, I think.
I feel like this Game Awards, I suspect, even though I don't think it's going to win Game of the Year, I think a lot of people are going to leave it being like, oh yeah, Zelda was one of the best games ever made, and that
Right.
came out a few months ago. Because
Yeah,
I don't
I
think
think it's
people are
gonna do
talking
well.
about it quite as much anymore.
Like, you think it's gonna get a ton of other awards, and then BG3 is gonna take the top.
yeah, well,
Makes
BG3 isn't nominated. Like BG3 has great music, but like it doesn't compare.
I know
to-
it is
to
in
Zelda,
this category
and-
though, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a great
good.
that Raphael.
Well, there's the
song.
Raphael
Oh,
song.
Well, Maddy hasn't gotten there yet. But yeah.
I don't know what
Okay.
you're talking about, but I can't wait
That's
to
actually
get to it.
similar to Champion of Light from Alan Wake 2, a similar moment in that game.
That's good. Raphael deserves a musical.
All right, let's keep going. Best audio design: Alan Wake 2, Dead Space, Hi-Fi Rush, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4.
I think I'm gonna do Dead Space here.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a weird pick because
That's a
I
great
will
pick.
say I think Dead Space has amazing audio design. I think that many of these other games do too. But I'm just kind of thinking like, what will people vote
Right.
for, and what will they be thinking to themselves? Oh, Dead Space. I remember that. I liked that.
Kirk, what's your pick?
This is a tough one. I'm going to go with Alan Wake 2 because I think that's what people would vote for. It does have amazing sounds, though
Amazing.
personally, I think the best audio design of the year was Spider-Man 2. I think the audio design in
really
that game is
good.
crazy. It's so good. Just it's really amazing. But I just kind of think Alan Wake 2 is gonna take it.
Kirk, you and I have made a lot of similar picks. Alan Wake 2 was also my pick for this one.
Wow, you did. You guys keep being the same pick, and
Because
then
I think
This is why I'm
Zelda's
gonna
going to
win,
take
though.
music.
I feel
think I think the way that they make up that the jury makes up for Zelda for Alan Wake 2 not winning Best Music
Right.
is that it'll get audio design. All right, this one has a lot of strong contenders.
boy.
Best performance: Ben Starr, Final Fantasy 16, Cameron Monaghan, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Idris Elba, Cyberpunk, Melanie Liebert, Alan Wake 2, Neil Newbon, Baldur's Gate 3, Yuri Lowenthal, Spider-Man 2.
What's it going to be, Maddy?
I feel like the people love Idris, and the gamers are gonna want to give Idris an award just because you can't
To get him up on
not. Like,
stage.
get him on stage. Like, come on, we all want that moment, right?
Yeah, that's a strong prediction. I think Neil Nibon is going to get it. I think Asterion is such an iconic
He is
character.
so
His performance
good.
is so incredible. And he's just been so present. Like all the voice actors on that game
For
have been so
sure.
present, but I've seen him a lot in particular. I actually didn't know who he was before this year also, and I'm now very aware of him. So I just feel like he had a breakout year, and it seems likely that he'll win.
I'm going to change my pick. I had gone with Neil too, but I actually think that Ben Starr, because he carries all of Final Fantasy 16, is going to win it. And I think he's also on social media a lot. I think he's raised his profile quite a lot this year. I think people will know that name a little bit more than Neil Newbon. It's possible to play all of Baldur's Gate 3 without even talking to Neil Newbon or hearing his voice. So I actually think Ben Starr in Final Fantasy 16 is
He's
going to
really
take this
good
one.
in FF16.
He's
really
fantastic. A highlight of the game. All right, next up, innovation and accessibility. We have Diablo 4, Forza Motorsport, Hi-Fi Rush, Spider-Man 2, Mortal Kombat 1, Street Fighter 6. Let's switch up the order a little bit. I'll go first. I think Diablo 4 takes this one because that game has a lot of really interesting accessibility stuff, and they've tried really hard to make it accessible to people.
I'm going to do Street Fighter 6, which I think will probably also win Best Fighting Game this year. But it is such a good example of actually doing something that fighting games have been trying to do for a really long time, with having simplified controls and the like classic controls. They've actually implemented that, and I've heard, it's only anecdotal, but I've heard from a lot of parents who play with their kids that it's actually really fun this time in ways that are really revolutionary, and just kind of also anecdotally hearing from friends who are like, yeah, I don't really like fighting games, but like I feel like the accessibility mode in this game is great. They've also added a bunch of other stuff to the game that just makes it easier to hop into it and learn new characters. And I know they've been trying for a really long time, but so is every fighting game. And Street Fighter 6 really did it. I think it's kind of an unsung champion of that, at least in the circles that we run in, because fighting games is kind of its own island in certain ways. Like you have to be into them to be like talking about which ones are accessible. But I feel like the people who like it will come out for it, including on the critic and fan side. So I think it has a chance in this category.
Kirk, what's your pick?
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I agree, Jason, that Diablo 4 has a lot of really great accessibility. I just think Spider-Man 2 might take it
was my
because
second
Sony
choice.
has built this reputation for building in all these nice accessibility options, and there are a lot of great ones in that game. So yeah, anyway, that's what I think will win.
All right, next up, Games for Impact. A Space for the Unbound, Chants of Sennar, Goodbye Volcano High, Chia, Terra Nil, Venba. Kirk, what's your pick?
I'm going to pick Chia for this one. This is a game that I loved and didn't have much of a chance to talk about on the show, but Games for Impact is, kind of the like social justice, like progressive award that we've registered our gripes with before. Yeah. Chia is a very cool game with kind of Breath of the Wild-like systems, but it's also set on New Caledonia and is paints a cool cultural picture, and I think that fits with this sort of weird category, so that's what I'm going to pick.
Maddy, what's your pick?
I'm going to pick Venba, which I talked about as my one more thing last week, and I think super deserves this award, and hopefully a lot of people have played it and will agree with that.
Yeah, I haven't played most of these, but I feel like Goodbye Volcano High has the most name recognition for people, so I think that's what they're going to pick. Because I imagine most people will not have played most of these who are judging this. Best ongoing: Apex Legends, Cyberpunk 2077, Final Fantasy XIV, Fortnite, Genshin Impact. Here is where I think Cyberpunk takes the crown. That's my vote for this one.
I'm going to go Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Yeah, that's a great call, Jason, but I'm also going to go Fortnite because I just feel like Fortnite has been doing a lot of really cool stuff lately, even though it is impressive the way that CD Projekt has supported Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Best community support, kind of a similar, well, not really similar, but best community support: Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 14, No Man's Sky. I am voting for Cyberpunk once again. I think that takes this one.
I think that Baldur's Gate 3 takes this one
too.
because of the way that they've responded to fans. They've like added stuff to the game according to fan requests. And I know all these games have done that to some extent, but it's been pretty crazy how much Larian has done that. So I think BG3.
I agree.
Next up, best indie game, best independent game, they're saying.
Don't let's shorten it.
Not indie. Well, whatever this means. Cocoon, Dave the Diver, Dredge, Sea of Stars, Viewfinder.
Yes.
Dave the Diver is, of course, not an indie game.
No.
But we'll
Yes,
keep
as
going.
we've established, it is extremely not an indie game, and it's very funny that it was nominated for this.
Kirk, what's your pick?
I think that my pick is Dave the Diver. I think that's going to win, even though it shouldn't be nominated. I should be nominated somewhere else, maybe. It's a really cool game. I like it, but I just think it's going to win.
Maddy?
I think I'm going to go Dredge here. I think more people played that than Cocoon. which I like better personally.
Yeah, that's what I was mulling over between those two for this and the next one, and I'm going to go with Cocoon just to switch things up from you, Maddy, even though I could have gone either way. Best debut indie game: Cocoon, Dredge, Pizza Tower, Venba, and Viewfinder. I'm going to stick with my Cocoon prediction. Maddy, are you going to stick with Dredge for this one?
No, I think I'll go Venba.
Venba, okay.
I think
Kirk?
this is going to be Dredge. I think the reason that
okay.
Dredge
Nice.
won't win Best Indie Game
It's
is
good when we're all
that it'll win
different.
Best Debut. And it is a great debut.
They all
Black
are.
Star, is that what they're called, the studio that made Dredge? Black Salt. Good on them. They did a great job.
Best mobile game: Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Honkai Star Rail, Monster Hunter Now, Terra Nil.
I'm going to say Honkai Star Rail because
Same.
I think that game is really
Okay.
big.
Yeah.
And I don't really play any of these, but I'm just going to say that.
Yeah. That's gonna win. For sure.
I think this one's a wash because
Yeah,
that's
I
my
think
pick.
we
as
are
well.
gonna
we all
all
picked
vote for
it.
that. Well,
Yeah,
that's a
fair
meaningless
enough.
category, and we all win.
Best VR/AR,
Oh, boy.
whatever that means. Gran Turismo 7, Horizon Call of the Mountain, Humanity, Resident Evil Village VR mode, Synapse. Kirk.
Yeah, so weird year because I didn't play any VR this year, even though I do like VR. I didn't get the new PlayStation VR, so I didn't play Horizon Call of the Mountain, but I do think that that's what's going to win, just because I gather it's a VR game. It's not breaking a lot of new ground, but that it's a pretty good one. So I think Horizon.
I'm
Okay.
gonna do Humanity because I've heard a lot
Okay.
of buzz about it, and I don't think it's in any other category.
So the reason I'm going with Call of the Mountain, Horizon Call of the Mountain, is because I think that most people who are voting on this have not played any of these, and we'll just go with the one that is that is Horizon.
Sad but true.
All right, here is where we start getting into a few genre categories, which is really
boy.
kind of a very dumb
Pretty
thing,
dicey.
but we'll do it anyway. Best action game: Armored Core 6, Dead Island 2, Ghost
Remember
Runner
that?
2, Hi-Fi Rush, Remnant 2. Here is where I think Hi-Fi Rush will make its stand. That's my prediction.
Okay.
Maddie, what
Oh,
about you?
man.
I'm gonna do Armored Core 6, which I played
Okay.
for a little bit during GOTY consideration and thought was really fun.
Cool.
Yep, I think Armored Core is going to get this one. I played
Cool.
some as well. I haven't had time to get into it because
Same.
there's kind of a hump you have to get over.
for
but
sure, yeah.
people love this freaking game,
And
and
it's
I
cool.
gather that it is incredible. So
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it'll win because it's the only thing it's nominated for.
Best action adventure: Alan
here we
Wake
are.
2, Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I just want to say, if you run a game awards show and Tears of the Kingdom and Alan Wake 2 are in the same genre category, you might want to rethink your categories.
They are pretty different.
Yeah.
My pick, by the way,
Action-adventure.
is Zelda.
You think Zelda? I think Spider-Man is actually
Okay,
going to win
okay,
this one,
okay.
just because it's like it's going to win. It's got to win some kind of broad "You're a good
See,
game" award.
This is
and
where I was
think
going to
it'll
put
be this
Star
one.
Wars Jedi for that reason,
Okay.
because I'm like, it's
Interesting,
underserved and
okay.
it deserves a pity trophy. Sorry, that game, which I
Interesting.
like. That's not what I mean by it at all.
Yeah.
I'm purely speaking Game Awards wise.
Okay, speaking of pity trophies, next up we have Best RPG: Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 16, Lies of P, Sea of Stars,
Categories.
Starfield. The first time I think ever in the award show's history that a new Bethesda single player game has not been nominated
far
for
down
Game
the
of the Year.
list. Ooh.
I gotta say also for best RPG again that I don't think Starfield should be on here because I don't think it's a very good game. But also that I think that Phantom Liberty is a terrific role playing game and should be on.
Well,
here. I know it's
Octopath Traveler too. The
same
fact that
thing.
that
Yeah.
wasn't
Oh, for
nominated
sure, yeah.
is
Yeah,
really
very weird.
really pathetic. I think people just didn't play that game. I'm gonna go with Baldur's Gate 3. I think it's a shoe-in for this one.
Yeah, me too. I
Me
think it's got
too.
it.
But you know what? I'm going to change it up. I'm going to do Final Fantasy for this just so we have a different thing
Sure.
here.
It's so funny. Final Fantasy is an action game. That's what's really funny about
I
this
know.
Like
category.
Lies of P is not a role playing game.
Yeah, I don't understand
It's a
these.
Souls like.
I know.
Okay,
It's
well,
great.
here we go. Best fighting. It's not. By the way, it doesn't say best fighting game.
I know, it just says best fighting.
God of
I like
Rock.
that one. And best family. The next one is funny too. The best family in a
Yeah,
game.
yeah. We'll get to that one.
Interesting. I guess Venba.
God of Rock, Mortal Kombat 1, Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2, Pocket Bravery, Street Fighter 6.
Well, you already
Maddie,
know mine. I already spoiled it.
You're going
Yeah.
with Street Fighter?
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah,
I think
me
that's
too.
Got it.
I
Just
really-
everything
This
I've
group,
seen.
I mean, it's
Well, I just
Come
don't
on.
see anything else winning.
Nothing else will win
this, right? Like, because Tekken would be the one contender, but that's not out
But
yet.
it didn't come out this year.
Yeah, changing our prediction to be different would just be
Lying?
getting one wrong.
Just,
I think.
getting one wrong. Yeah. Okay, best family. Yes, the best family. Disney Illusion Island, Party Animals, Pikmin 4, Sonic Superstars, Super Mario Brothers, Wonder. Here is where I think Mario gets its one and only category.
Same.
Okay.
Agree.
I'm going to do Pikmin.
Okay.
Yeah. Could be.
Well, I actually think, next up is Best Sim Strategy, Advance Wars 1 and 2 Reboot Camp, City Skyline 2, which, by the way, was like a totally busted game. I can't believe it was nominated for this. Company of Heroes 3, Fire Emblem Engage, Pikmin 4. This is where I think Pikmin 4 takes it.
Yep. Same.
Yeah, I
Pikmin
can't
4 is what I've
disagree.
got.
I'm sorry. That makes this category useless.
Well, do you want to take
No.
back your best family, or you're sticking
No,
with Pikmin
because
4?
then that
Okay.
category is useless.
Okay, this one is really important to us. Best Sports Racing. EA Sports FC 24, F1 23, Forza Motorsport, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2, and The Crew Motorfest. I have not even seen an ounce of gameplay footage from any of these, so I'm going to go with name recognition and pick Forza Motorsport.
Oh no, that's
cool.
what I picked as well.
I'm going to do Hot Wheels Unleashed.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Just because I think that'd be cool.
Okay. Okay, cool. Next up, we have Best Multiplayer. Baldur's Gate 3, Diablo 4, Party Animals, Street Fighter 6, Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Diablo 4, I think.
Yep, that's my pick too.
God damn it, guys! That's what I was gonna pick.
That's fine.
Well, just because
All right,
I talked
fine.
first doesn't mean you can't pick the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
as me. I mean, I
Well,
already
just
picked
that
all
if
of
we
these.
all three
I'm not
pick
doing this in
something-
real time. Like, I could show you my whole list.
I think we'll all pick the same one for the next one too.
You're
Best
right.
adaptation:
That's fine.
Castlevania Nocturne, Gran Turismo, The Last of Us, the Super Mario Brothers
Well,
movie,
let's pick the
Twisted
winner.
I mean, it's
Metal.
obviously the Gran Turismo movie.
Yeah,
The
we are
Last of
all
Us is
picking that.
clearly going to win this category.
Yes.
Yeah,
The
just
Last
fill
of
it
Us,
out for all of
this
us.
is-
It's the last.
Sure thing.
I've never seen. Yeah, it's rare that there's one that's like this.
Castlevania Nocturne, pretty good, but it's, I mean,
And
come
also,
on.
Twisted Metal. No one watched it. It's pretty fun. Just saying. Anyway, no
Yeah,
one
I've
cares.
heard that.
It's not gonna win.
But The Last of Us,
Most anticipated game, the stupidest category of all
Christ.
time. Although at least this year it can't be Zelda because it came out. It's been Zelda the
Right, it
last
finally
3
came
years.
out.
I know.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hades 2, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Star Wars Outlaws, Tekken 8.
And I just want to register my objection yet again that Hollow Knight Silk Song isn't on here because that is my actual most anticipated.
So,
game.
well, the rule for this is it has to be announced for the year in question. Hollow Knight Silk Song technically doesn't have a year announcement. It could come out in December. Like, we don't know.
Okay, but I still
could
am
come
going
out
to
tomorrow.
say that that's stupid and that a game that isn't out yet that I'm anticipated should be on here.
Okay, is your nomination here Silk Song? Is that what you're
No, my nomination is Hades. Hades
Hades 2,
As
okay.
much as I think that FF7 Rebirth is like maybe gonna get it, I just am.
That's what
my
I'm
vote.
voting
Like
for.
Hades 2
I'm
is
doing
gonna
Final
get it.
Fantasy.
Yeah, my vote is also Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for me and Maddy, Hades 2 for Kirk. Okay. Here is where we start getting into the really fun stuff. I was looking forward to
Now we're in
this.
the weeds.
Oh,
All right, you guys
boy.
ready? Content Creator
Sure.
of the Year, Iron Mouse, People Make Games, Quackity, Spreen, Cypher PK.
Or is it pronounced Cypher?
Cypher PK.
So I'm going purely off of things that I've just seen written around, like on like a Reset Era forum title or
Sure,
something,
yeah.
and I'm gonna say People Make Games because
you
I just feel
probably
like I've
have heard of
seen
them.
People Make Games breaking some news
They
this
have.
year, and yeah, so I think I'm just gonna say People Make Games.
Yeah, I feel like People Make Games is like the critical darling of these, so I'm gonna instead do Iron Mouse, who I have no clue who that is, but it's a name I hear a lot.
I'm going to go with Quackity because I think that's a really fun name. Quackity.
Cool.
I just like saying Quackity.
Great.
Okay, best esports game: Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, PUBG Mobile, Valorant. I'm going with Valorant for this one.
Not a bad pick. It's tied for me between League and Counter-Strike 2. I feel like Counter-Strike 2 made a really big splash, has a really high player base on Steam charts right now, but League I've heard has had a lot of good updates this year. I think I'm going to go CS2 though, because
Okay.
like I feel like new people will come in and want to vote for that.
Yeah, I put that down. I put down Counter-Strike 2 for this because it's new.
Here we go. All right, best esports athlete. I'm just gonna read the nicknames, not all of the names.
Yeah, go for it.
Faker, Zywoo, Demon One, Hydra, Ruler, Imperial, Hal. I'm going with Faker.
Oh, hey, so am I.
Yeah, Faker's the only one of these I've heard of.
Okay.
Maybe I should
Oh, no,
pick
we
a
all
different
picked
one. I'll
Faker.
pick Demon One. Give me Demon One.
Demon One. Okay. I saw people talking about Faker on Twitter.
I hope none of these
ago.
people are canceled. Please don't judge us for who we chose, by the way. Like, listeners.
Yeah, I'll stay with Faker.
Yeah,
I'll stay with
I
Faker.
just saw people talking about Faker on Twitter a couple
Yeah,
weeks
he's
ago.
famous.
Yes, I don't know any of these people. We're not, and also just to say, this is not because like we dislike esports exactly. We are just not in that world and don't know a lot about it.
Yeah,
so
it's
if you
too
know
hard.
a lot about it
Can't
and you're
be in
listening to
every
this,
world.
that's fine.
We're not in racing
just
and
don't-
sports games world either.
I do like esports. It's just that none of these are StarCraft 2, so I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, so true.
Best esports team: Evil Geniuses, Fnatic, Gaimin Gladiators, JD, or is it Gaimin? Gaimin Gladiators, JD Gaming, Team Vitality.
I'm saying evil geniuses because
Okay.
I know their name.
Okay.
I love that. I want to go Gaimin Gladiators because it's almost spelled like Neil Gaiman, but it's Gaimin. So it's, and it also kind of sounds like gaming. So it's like they thought
Like they're
about it too
gaming.
hard. Like, is it someone's last name? Are they the Gaming Gladiators?
Okay.
I don't understand why they made those choices, but I think they have the chance to win.
I like Team Vitality, and it's just
Okay.
a fun name. Here, best esports coach. We have Potter, Zonic, Gunba, XTQZZZ, and Hum. I think it's fun that XTQZZ, like, do people in esports, people call each other by their handles, so you have to
Yeah.
be like, XTQZZ or
Yeah, you usually have to
XTQZZ.
say it fast.
It's
like,
maybe it's like Zodix. I think you could find a way
Zodix,
to
okay.
pronounce that.
Okay.
Zodix.
it's hard.
All right, what are you guys going with here?
So I think it's cool to see a woman nominated for this award,
Okay.
and I have no idea of the quality of any of these coaches. I'm assuming they're all good at what they do, so I'm going to say Christine Potter Chi is going to get it.
I like that thinking. I'm just going to vote for XTQZZZ because I think that's cool. And I like the idea of somebody coming up in esports having that as their handle and forcing
We
other
want to learn
people
how
to
it's
adapt.
pronounced. I guess we'll learn how it's pronounced
Yeah,
no
well,
matter what.
we might. They don't always read these ones aloud.
Yeah,
Like,
they
these
usually
are
don't
the
read
lower
these.
categories.
They like they
This
just like
happens like right during a DoorDash commercial.
yeah, DoorDash
This is like
presents.
scrolled through quickly. Like, we're gonna have to do our homework to see who won this. Like,
we are.
it's
That's a good
gonna be
point.
tough.
I'm just gonna pick a name. I'm gonna throw a dart and say Gunba. That's my,
It's a good
my
name.
selection. All right, last but certainly not least, we have best esports event. 2023 League of Legends World Championship, Blast.TV, Paris Major 2023, Paris Major 2023, Evo 2023, the International Dota 2 Championships 2023, Valorant Champions 2023. I'm going to go, since I already picked Valorant, I'm going to go with Valorant Champions 2023.
I'll just say Evo. I don't know.
Evo for Maddy.
All right, I'll say League of Legends World Championship.
League of Legends. Oh, this is going to be
I
fun.
have no idea.
It's going to be fun if, imagine for both of these categories, we all lose. Like,
Yeah, what if we somehow all tie? What would we do then? Cry?
We're gonna roll dice.
Yeah,
We're
you're
just gonna
right.
have
We are gonna
we'll do a
roll
whole
dice.
episode where we do nothing but roll dice.
That sounds good.
Okay, cool. So that's it. So those are our picks, and so we will at the start of next week's episode we'll go through them. Maybe we'll see if we have time to read all 31 of them, but we'll certainly announce who won the tiebreaker, and then when we do our predictions episode, we'll have that in the bag. All right, before we go, the Game Awards is, of course, not only about awards. In fact, I would argue that maybe 20% of it is about awards. And most of it is
Well,
about
world
new
premieres.
game announcements and trailers and stuff. Is there anything you guys are excited to see, hoping to see, looking forward to? You guys, or heard anything? Any thoughts on the other part of this whole shebang, gaming's biggest night?
You know, I would like to hear about that Elden Ring DLC. I've had that huge image as my PC background across two monitors
Oh, really?
for a
Nice.
while now.
With the horse
Yep, it
and
looks
the Erd tree.
It looks so pretty. And it means that every time I minimize my tabs, I'm like, oh yeah, Elden Ring DLC. So I might be thinking about it more than the average person. But it does mean that I'm like, all right, come on, Bandai Namco, come out, show me something, tell me a date, give me some more Elden Ring. I'm in the mood
They did
for that.
recently say something like it's still a ways away. They made some comment last week, so I suspect that it is not going to be there. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said anything ahead.
It'd be nice to have an update though of any kind, but that's all I'm really hoping for.
Well, that's what that was essentially. It was like, hey, we're still working on this.
Jason, stop hurting me like this. I want to see something, but we'll find out.
I have a few things I want to see. I want to see Death Stranding 2
Sure.
or whatever that's actually going to be called. Do you think that it's going to be called Life Stranding?
I don't know.
Wow, no reaction. Zero reaction
because
from
I
Maddy
feel
and
like no,
Jason.
because they have that DS2 text on like the first trailer, so I just assume Death Stranding 2, but maybe that was just for that initial kind of press run up where they're like, yeah, of course you're going to call it Death Stranding 2. We're going to kind of acknowledge that by putting a 2 in the marketing materials. But you're arguing, nope, ignore that. New title, Life Stranding.
Maybe Stranding is the thing that ties it together.
I mean, it's Kojima. All bets
Yeah, it's
are
Kojima.
off.
What, I can't. How am I supposed to predict anything?
Yeah,
I don't know, but I want to see. I want to see what that game is going to look like.
What
I
else
think
do you
it'll
want to
be
see, Kirk?
Pretty cool. I want a release date for Silksong. It could happen. I could see it.
Could
I could
happen.
You
imagine.
think that's a Game Awards thing? So part of me feels like for Silksong, they're just going to drop it on Twitter and be like, hey, game's out. Enjoy.
I think so. I think Jeff knows what people want. Like he does understand what gamers want, and I think he knows that that would be a huge coup.
Jeff is clipping that out of the podcast and sharing it
And
everywhere.
I bet he has talked to Team Cherry and has been like, please tell me, if you know, like I would love to feature it and put it in front of all these people. And if I were them, I mean, I'd probably do that. So I could see it. Just because he knows what we want.
What about Hades 2? It feels like that was announced at last year's Game Awards, so it feels like a
Right.
good time to talk
Be nice
more
to have
about
a
it.
I think they'll
Release date.
probably announce the early access date for that because I bet that'll be in early access for a while.
I think they already said March for early access.
Oh, did they? So that's got a date.
Hold on, let me
Oh,
double
well
check
then,
this.
we probably already kind of know it's going to be early access, and I bet it releases in the fall.
Yeah, they said Q2 2024. So we
Got
don't
it.
know
That
yet.
March would not surprise me. Actually, a March release date for Silksong wouldn't surprise me either. But March for early access Hades and then a fall release kind of seems right. That would sort of feel right. And I'm so jazzed for that. I watched the trailer for that. I think it came up on Steam for me in my Steam queue for whatever reason. Which, by the way, do you guys ever just flip through your Steam queue? Do you ever just click on
Sometimes,
that
yeah.
queue and see what Steam thinks you would like? It's sort of
Yeah.
fun. There's a lot of games on Steam.
I know. And sometimes they are a game I would like.
It's true, and it's a game I haven't heard of. Anyways, there's a game called This Bed We Made or These Beds We Made. It's like you play as a maid in a hotel and you're trying to solve a murder. I'd never heard of it, and it came up in my Steam
Wow,
queue.
that
I was
sounds
like,
cool.
What's this? I'll check this out. Anyways, Hades 2 came up, and I watched that trailer, and I just got extremely jazzed when that da-na-na-na riff comes in. I was like, yes, I can't wait for this game. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm very jazzed for that. It's my most anticipated game for sure, other than Silksong.
Yeah, no wonder what you voted for it for most anticipated. Are you going to get on the Game Awards website and submit your vote?
Go vote. We would kind of be breaking the rules if we voted. Well, and Hades won Game of the Year, right? That's another reason I think it'll win that award is that it's a GOTY winner.
It didn't win Game of the Year, though. It did in our hearts, but The Last of Us Part 2
Yeah,
won
The
that
Last
year,
of Us
Kirk.
won Game of the Year.
I'm misremembering.
But I get why
then.
you've amended that memory in your heart, and you're like, Hades won Game of the Year that year, right? Right? You're just saying that.
Yeah, I
into
guess
the
it was all of
darkness.
our favorite
Yeah.
games, but it was,
was
up against Last
nominated.
of Us Part 2.
It was our pick for Game of the Year. It was the official
For sure.
triple click pick for Game of the Year that
It was a
year.
very good game.
Yeah,
What do
I
you
mean,
think, Jason?
I have to kind of parse out the rumblings that are floating around. None of which I will share because I haven't gone around confirming things, and I don't want to share things that don't turn out to be true. But one thing I haven't heard anything about, and so would like to see, is Tears of the Kingdom DLC or some sort of whatever. I don't know, update to it. More Tears of the Kingdom. I want an excuse
For
to
sure.
go play more Tears of the Kingdom, another temple or something. I know that there was a story floating around a couple months ago. Eiji Aonuma was like, we're done with this game. No more DLC. But I don't believe him. I feel like
No, I don't buy
they
it.
gotta do something. Or failing that, at least like a new, like a Wind Waker, Twilight Princess tease or something like that. And here's a left field prediction. Again, this is not based on inside information. This is just kind of a out of nowhere prediction. I don't know if you guys remember a couple of years ago, but the Xbox Series X was like first announced at the Game Awards or first shown off at the Game Awards.
Oh.
What if Nintendo comes out and teases the Switch 2 at the Game
Could see it.
Awards?
That'd be
interesting,
cool.
right? The thing working against that is that it might not be until next fall, in which case it would be a little too early to start talking about it. But still, I wouldn't be shocked if they were like, "We are working on a Switch successor. Please be excited," and like did some cool like Zelda hype trailer or like some next gen 3D Mario looking thing or something like that. In terms of things that I think are a lot more realistic, I think there's a very good shot we see like Final Fantasy 16 DLC, which they've been talking about is coming. Personally, not exactly super incredibly hyped for that, but I am very hyped for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I think there's a very good chance we see a new trailer for that because that comes out in 2 months.
I almost don't want to see any more
know.
trailers for that.
I've hit that
Even
too.
though they're really fun whenever they come out. I feel like I've seen so much of the game now. I almost want to just be surprised by it.
But you really haven't, if you think about how much is going to be packed in there and like how
And
much
also
they've
how
shown.
sneaky they're going to be with the trailers. Like they're going to make us
Exactly.
think it's showing one thing, but then in context we'll be like, wait,
just how I
what?
feel. Like I
No,
feel like I've seen
I feel
enough.
the same way
you.
where I'm like, but I already know I'm so excited for it. Don't give me any more spooky Sephiroth faces. I already want to see them live and in color for my very own.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
well. It's a job. I gotta watch it.
And then as far as, I mean, a lot of the rumblings that I've heard are indie studios that people have heard of that are coming out and announcing their next game. So nothing that like, again, nothing I've confirmed and can be like, and put it out in the world. But I suspect we'll see some like faces where it'll be like, oh yeah, they made that game that was cool a few years ago. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
You think there's any chance, since we're gonna have seen the GTA 6 trailer by the time people are listening to this, do you think there's any chance that Rockstar announces Red Dead Redemption 2 current gen, like a PS5, Xbox Series X?
Certainly,
Something people have been
certainly
asking
possible.
for.
I don't know.
And it just seems like the kind of little thing they would do after a big announcement on Tuesday.
Right. And like something they might throw to Jeff and be like, look, we're never going to give you our big GTA 6 trailer, but hey, we'll give you this announcement for Red Dead 2 PS5.
It keeps people talking about them.
Do you think they would do it the same week? That seems like
I don't know.
It might be counterproductive, but I don't know. Maybe. Could be.
do
I
you
don't
think
know
those
either.
are the same audience? I don't know.
Well, I mean, GTA
Yeah.
6 is or Rockstar stuff is
Right.
like any audience anywhere. They could do whatever they want. Kind of, they're at that position,
fair.
and they always have done whatever they want. But they've also shown up at some events, PlayStation events. Occasionally, they'll show up and do some like GTA 5 on PS5 or whatever.
I guess I kind of I get the feeling sometimes that Rockstar is very dormant for periods and then they're very active for periods. And so that's kind of what's making me think, oh, maybe they'll be like, okay, we're out from under our rock. We've rubbed our eyes in the light and here's GTA 6 and also Red Dead Redemption 2 thing and, whatever else. Like maybe something else.
They did just do the Red Dead 1 like port on Switch and stuff. That just happened a couple of months ago.
That's true. So that was the beginnings of them coming out from under their rock.
Yeah, no, maybe it could be. I wouldn't be shocked. But I feel like if they're gonna do that, it might be like a big PlayStation thing in the spring or something like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
You could totally be right. That could be cool. All right. Well, we are all excited. Everyone put on your tuxedos. I will be wearing a suit tonight. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sit in that stadium for 3 hours and get like...
Are you bringing your
like,
menorah, Jason? It's the first night of
No,
Hanukkah.
I'm not bringing a menorah. I'm okay.
Okay.
The key is you wear really comfortable pants because no one will be able to see them when you're sitting down.
Right.
And a tux jacket, sweatpants. That's the way
Kirk, what are you talking... This is like you're sitting in an auditorium where lots of
what
people
are
can
you
see what you're wearing.
Well, I'm talking about on camera, like the people who matter, the people watching the stream.
Okay, but you're surrounded by hundreds of people who can see what you're wearing.
Well, those people will just see that you value comfort, and they'll think that you're a man of taste.
Right. And when the camera sort of scans over the audience, we just see Jason and we see his bow tie, etc.
You see
But
my suit. No,
We
I
all get
will.
to
I
wonder,
bought
what
a
is he
suit
wearing?
for a certain Maddie Myers' wedding, and I will be wearing that to this show.
you
so
looked
I'm
great.
excited about
Nice.
that.
Wow, I
Thank
didn't
you.
even bought a
That's true.
suit for that.
I did.
I got to
did.
see
Well,
it
'cause
before gaming's biggest night.
I hadn't worn a suit since pre-pandemic, and those
I see.
COVID
Say
pounds.
no more.
Well, if we're being real, Maddie's wedding was gaming's real biggest night. So.
That's so
it was
true.
gaming's biggest
That's
thing.
so true.
The real one. All right, let's take a break, and we'll be back with gaming's biggest one more thing.
Hello, sleepyheads. Sleeping with Celebrities is your podcast pillow pal. We talk to remarkable people about unremarkable topics, all to help you slow down your brain and drift off to sleep For instance, we have the remarkable Neil Gaiman.
I'd always had a vague interest in live culture, food preparation.
Sleeping with Celebrities, hosted by me, John Moe, on MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts. Night-night.
Somewhere in an alternate universe where Hollywood is smarter.
And the Emmy nominees for Outstanding Comedy Series are Jetpackula, Airport Marriott, Thruple, Dear America, We've Seen You Naked, and Allah in the Family.
In our stupid universe, you can't see any of these shows, but you can listen to them on Dead Pilot Society, the podcast that brings you hilarious comedy pilots that the networks and streamers bought but never made. Journey to the alternate television universe of Dead Pilot Society on MaximumFun.org.
And we are back. Kirk, Maddy, and it's time for one more thing. Maddy, what's your one more thing?
My one more thing has been a one more thing in the past of, I believe you, Jason. It's Chants of Sennar, the notoriously titled indie game
Yes.
about the Tower of Babel. I don't know if that's official, but that's more or less what the game is about. Inspired by, yeah. Loving it. Haven't defeated it yet, but have gotten past the first level, I suppose. Like I've completed translating the first floor, and I've just moved on to the next one. And I loved it. I feel like I play a lot of games that don't require my full focus these days, and not in a bad way. Like I love listening to a podcast while playing a game. Who doesn't? Or kind of just looking up, having a conversation with my wife, a cutscene's playing, I'm kind of watching it. Chants of Sennar is way on the other end of that spectrum. I am fully in a way that I find very pleasurable, like matching up what symbols mean different words in this language is so stimulating to my brain. I feel like I'm getting smarter. It made me feel the way Case of the Golden Idol and Obra Dinn and some of those other kind of matching games make me feel, but also Baba Is You, another classic Jason favorite. There's just something about a language game that just fully unravels my brain, and I'm like, I gotta untwist this, and the music is perfect for accompanying the untwistiness of Chants of Sennar. So if you want to just be totally sucked into something intellectually, Chants of Sennar, really, really good for that. Really enjoyed it. Time flew by.
Can I piggyback on your one more thing? Because this was almost my one more thing this week as well. Because I've played like probably 8 or 9 hours of this. So I'm up to like the 4th language that you have to learn. I believe there are 5 in total. And yeah, and anyone who doesn't remember, this is a game where the whole game you are walking around trying to learn these different languages to basically bridge a series of communication divides among different cultures on this tower, where on each level they speak a different language. It's very abstract. It looks a little bit like Journey. It's that like clean line art style. It's very cool looking. And yeah, I started playing this on a plane, which was a great place to play it because there were no distractions, and it does require focus. I really like it. I think it's so brilliantly designed. It's not just language, right? And I guess the moral of this game, to me at least, has been that language isn't just language, that language and the world and the culture of the world and the activities, they all are part of the same thing. And so language is so much richer than just what does this word mean, which is what you're trying to figure out. But the way that you figure out is so... there's so many different ways that you do it. The second area, the warriors area, is really cool. As you'll see, Maddy, there's a lot of sort of contextual understanding where you have to figure out what word would be there based on the way this sculpture looks, or based on the way this guy yelled this at this other guy. Like, what do you think that means? And then later, like, they're yelling it at me, so I have to kind of know what they mean in order to follow their instructions. There's so much cool stuff like that. And then it's really nice the way that it ties it all together as you're kind of increasingly bridging these communication gaps. It's just a really lovely game about how language divides us and how conquering language can unite us. And yeah, it does have a similar feeling, I think, to Obra Dinn, in that you're holding this kind of increasing matrix of information in your brain. But like Golden Idol, actually, in particular, it gives you a really nice set of tools to organize them. And it does allow you to kind of not brute force, but do some guessing and get some feedback based on your guesses. So it doesn't just totally, you definitely will feel overwhelmed with this game, anyone trying it out for the first 20 minutes. But then once it starts to get under your control, it's really, really engrossing. And I love it. I think it's so good.
Yeah, it's really, really worth
I'm glad you're both playing
your
it.
time.
Just in time for our top 10 list soon.
It'll come up.
That is why.
It'll come up.
Kirk, what's your... that wasn't your one more thing? What's your one more thing?
No, my one more thing is another indie game I've been playing called Jusant, made by the French studio Don't Nod, makers of Life is Strange, and before that, Remember Me, which is maybe a little more relevant for this game since it also had climbing and platforming in it. This is a game about climbing, and it's really great. I'm loving it. I believe it's on Game Pass as well, so anyone out there with Game Pass can just check this game out. I've been playing it on Steam Deck mostly, though it looks really nice on a big screen. So sometimes I play it on my PC. So this is a game where you play a young boy who doesn't talk. There's no talking. It has a kind of eco journey feel just to the quiet atmosphere. And he starts out, he's in this desert that looks like a dried up ocean. There are ships, but it's totally a desert, but there are like hulks of ships on the ground. And he's walking in the sun. It's clearly very hot, like this world is dried up. And then ahead of him is this massive rock tower that just goes up into the clouds. Like it's like supernaturally impossibly tall. And he begins climbing it. And that's how the game begins. There's no real explanation for what he's doing or why. And then as you go, you discover logs that are written out. I almost wish you didn't discover those, but it's cool. They do flesh out the story and tell you a thing or two. And then you start to figure out where he is, who his people are, why he's doing this, what this tower used to be. So it's got this nice story that it feels a little like Flower. It feels like a That Game Company echo in some ways, like Journey. And really, it's about the mechanics of climbing, and that's what makes it so special. It's a game where you're climbing like in Uncharted. It's very similar looking. If you just watch someone playing it, you go handhold to handhold, up a wall, then you climb over, then you have to kind of jump. You always have a belay line hooked up, so you can always just start swinging. You can drive pitons into the rock at any point. So say you're climbing up and you reach the end of your handholds and you need to get over 50 feet to the right. You like drive in a piton, drop down, and then you can do the swing thing just like in Uncharted 4 where you build up momentum, swinging left to right, like running along the face of the rock wall, and then you can kind of jump and grab on, drive a new piton, etc. So it looks like Uncharted 4, but mechanically it's much more complex. It's actually closer to something like, any VR sickos out there will remember The Climb, which was a Crytek game. There was a climbing game in VR that was pretty cool, where you have to actually climb. You have to control your two hands moving from handhold to handhold, and you do that with the triggers in this game. So it's much more mechanically involved, and you can just let go of the triggers and you'll fall. You have a stamina meter that slowly drops, but then you can kind of pause and dangle for a minute. Every time you reach land, it totally resets. And then there's an increasing number of mechanics as you play, like a magical pulse that causes new handholds to grow in the wall, or then like heat that's burning and keeps the handholds from growing, so you have to time things around them, and it just grows more complex as it goes. Feels like a Nintendo game in that way, where it's very organic, the way that it develops. But man, it's so cool. It really... it's just so mechanically interesting. It reminds me of Death Stranding, actually, in that way. And I really like games like this, where just moving through the world is interesting and sort of mechanically involved. And the better you get at it, the more you just kind of feel kind of like you've crawled inside of it and you're moving through it, rather than a game like Uncharted, where you're really just moving the stick and up Nathan Drake goes, which is just so much less interesting. I don't know that I would want Uncharted to do that, though I've always found the climbing in Uncharted, or Horizon Zero Dawn for that matter, any of those games to just be so restrictive and kind of boring. So I do really like this. I think there are some great ideas in this game. And it's lovely. I just think it's a really nice, really relaxing, sort of mechanically satisfying and interesting game that anyone, I mean, if you think any of that sounds good, I think you should check it out. Certainly if you have Game Pass. What have you got to lose? You go play it. It's very good.
I don't know if you remember this, Kirk, but in the book Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, Uncharted 4's development is detailed, and as it turns out, they tried to do an elaborate climbing system for that game and spent like a dozen prototypes trying to make it work, but because of the nature of that game, it was very difficult to pull off, as opposed to a game like this where the entire core conceit is that you're climbing.
That it rang a bell, but I didn't remember that specifically. But yeah, it kind of makes sense when you think about what Uncharted 4 is, though I still don't know. Like, playing this game, I'm not sure that I would, if it were an option at least in Uncharted 4 to turn on immersive climbing or something, I'm not sure it wouldn't make that game a little bit more engaging. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough call. I'm not totally sure, but it certainly works for Jusant, and I understand why a game designer would make that decision of being like, okay, it needs to be its own dedicated game. For this game, we need it to, like, climbing just needs to be a moment when you're relaxing and just not like actively playing the game.
All right, my one more thing is a book called Going Infinite by Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis is, of course, the famous best-selling journalist, author of Moneyball and The Blind Side, and many, many other books of varying success and quality, some of which have been turned into movies. And so this new book is about the boy king of FTX, as Michael Lewis, or the boy genius of FTX, as Michael Lewis calls him, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Never heard of him.
It's very interesting. Very interesting. This book was kind of, so Michael Lewis, he set out to write a book about crypto, and he found this guy Bankman-Fried and wound up just kind of immersing with him, which is Michael Lewis's journalistic style, is basically to find a person who's going to be his main character or his main characters.
I wonder what it was about Bankman-Fried that made Lewis go, I think I'm going to stick with this guy. He might be an interesting story.
Well, he gets into this and talks about how interesting he is. And then in true Michael Lewis style, he was in the right place at the right time, because he had already embedded with him for months when FTX exploded last year, and it turned into something else entirely and really changed the course of his story. But I think one of the problems with this book is that Michael Lewis, as a journalist, is kind of credulous to a fault about his characters. And so he looks at Sam Bankman-Fried in this lens that you kind of are reading it, and it's almost like if like one of your close friends was dating somebody and telling you these stories that sounded really cutesy and fun, and you were like, holy crap, this person is abusing you, or like, this person is a psychopath. Like, he tells, Michael Lewis tells all these stories about how Sam Bankman-Fried talks about how he has no emotions and can't feel things, or like might not feel empathy
like,
for
isn't this
people.
Whimsical? And you're like, is it?
Yeah, well, it's kind of written in that way of like the true, like Michael Lewis is a genius at like these character studies that really explore fascinating people that are like really talented at something, but also super quirky. And like, I'll never forget some of his descriptions in the book, The Big Short, where he talks about like one of the main characters, that guy Steve, whatever, the guy who's played by Steve Carell in the movie, telling these amazing anecdotes about his childhood and the way he would like even challenge Torah study and like all sorts of crazy stuff. And those are very fun when they're talking about people who like did interesting things. Less so when they're talking about someone who turns out to be like this criminal mastermind. And then Mike Lewis since then has really been putting his foot in his mouth a lot, talking about how like there's a lynch mob after Sam Bankman-Fried. And like how Sam Bankman-Fried actually had a successful business and really been kind of the subject. Lewis has really been the subject of a lot of criticism as a result of his depiction and his kind of like falling too hard for his subject in many ways, which is a very interesting. There could almost be a meta book about the relationship between Michael Lewis and his characters, and especially Sam Bankman-Fried.
This is when another journalist reveals that he's been embedded with Michael Lewis
all the time.
over the course of the writing of the SBF book.
Yeah, it's the Matryoshka dolls, where it's like one inside of the other. But yeah, no, it's interesting to read. I will say it is not nearly as enjoyable as a book I talked about earlier by my colleague Zeke Fox, called
That line goes up. Is that what that's called?
yeah, Number Go Up is the name of the
Go
book.
Up. Number Go Up.
And that book is much more of a skeptic traveling the world and seeing what he can find on this crazy crypto experiment. And he also talks to Sam Bankman-Fried, and right away he can tell that Sam Bankman-Fried is full of it. So
this guy's not on the level.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very two different approaches, and I think that like Michael Lewis's approach is just not equipped for discovering that the guy you've been embedded with is actually a major huckster and like a sociopath. And there's some stuff in the book that really makes you raise an eyebrow. He talks about how like Sam Bankman-Fried had this viable business and how like nobody could have possibly known until it all came crashing down. And I think there's a lot of kind of bunk there because a lot of people knew or could have known,
or at least some people possibly knew and pulled out.
Well, I mean, first of all, crypto, first and foremost, like a lot of people realized that was all full of scamsters from the get-go, including Zeke Fox. But second of all, there was this interview months and months before the explosion where like my colleague at Bloomberg, Matt Levine, was interviewing Sam Bankman-Fried and was basically like, so you're saying you're in the Ponzi business? Like there were a lot of breadcrumbs out there that I think a different minded kind of journalist would have discovered. And I don't think that's like for Michael Lewis, it was just kind of like what everybody thought was like the perfect story for him to be in because wow, you could get the real story about this crazy fraud. Turns out to be kind of the wrong guy to be telling this story. So yeah, it's an interesting read. As a journalist, I am enjoying reading this and just kind of like seeing how he approaches it and seeing how he tells the story. But I think if you look at Sam Bankman-Fried and you're like, man, this guy really took advantage of people and defrauded a lot of people, go with Zeke Fox's book, Number Go Up, instead for a more cathartic, satisfying look at like, oh, this is all a massive house of cards versus this guy, Michael Lewis, giving a more credulous look. But still, an interesting book.
This is like when there were those dueling Firefest documentaries on Netflix and Hulu.
Exactly. Yeah, one of them actually interviewed the Firefest guy, so kind of similar.
That's what I'm saying. They kind of had different vibes. One was a little more the perspective of the guys who put on the festival.
I forgot about that. That was a weird time.
Good times.
So yeah, Going Infinite, Michael Lewis. It's an interesting book. Don't know if I would full-throatedly recommend it, but I'm enjoying it, reading it regardless. Because Michael Lewis, everything he writes is just going to be entertaining to read no matter what.
Nice.
All right, that's it for this week's episode. I hope everybody enjoys gaming's biggest night. I will be there. It'll be 3 hours long. I will want to kill myself after an hour and a half.
You're going to make it.
TBD.
You're going to be fine.
Maybe I'll sit by the aisle so I can just go back and watch the rest of my hotel after a bit, but we'll see. And yeah, that is it for this week's episode. Kirk, Maddy, see you both next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye.
Triple Click is produced by Jason Schreier, Maddy Myers, and me, Kirk Hamilton. I edit and mix the show and also wrote our theme music. Our show art is by Tom DJ. Some of the games and products we talked about on this episode may have been sent to us for free for review consideration. You can find a link to our ethics policy in the show notes. Triple Click is a proud member of the Maximum Fun Podcast Network, and if you like our show, we hope you'll consider supporting us by becoming a member at MaximumFun.org/join. Find us on Twitter at TripleClickPod, send email to tripleclick@MaximumFun.org, and find a link to our Discord in the show notes. Thanks for listening. See you next time.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows.
Supported
directly
by you.